Hello boys and girls. Today I'm going to be reviewing multiplying fractions. So on cons this week, your goal is to get 100% on the unit of multiplication of fractions, multiplying fractions. So I'm going to go ahead and do some examples that I found on cons so that if you're having trouble with that, you can come to this video and look at it again, okay, after trying it on Cons Academy. So I'm going to go ahead and start by explaining the first type of problems that you will find on Cons Academy if you haven't ever tried it yet. So when you're multiplying fractions, one of the things that you want to remember is any number times a fraction that is equal to 1 will be the same as that number. So 2 over 2 is the same as 1, right? It's 1 whole. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. If the number in the numerator is the same in the denominator, that will be equal to 1. So in this case, I know that 315 times 2 over 2 is the same thing as saying 315 times 1. So 315 times 1 is the same, the answer will be 315. So you will see those problems on cons where they ask you what, and they'll give you a fraction that is equal to 1. Then you get another multiplication here, like for example 315 times 1 1/4, or so this is a fraction bigger than 1. They might give it to you like this, or they might give it to you as an improper fraction or a mixed number. Well, this is a mixed number. They might give it to you as an improper fraction or a fraction greater than 1, I should say, because that's how we call it now. A fraction greater than 1. So if I rewrite this as a fraction greater than 1, it will be 315 times, or they can say of. I'm going to go more into that in a bit. And so if I write this as a fraction greater than 1, I will go 1 times 4 equals 4 plus 1 is 5. So 5/4. Okay, I hope you didn't get lost there. But 5/4 is the same thing as 1 and 1/4. Because if I take out 1 whole, I'm left with a fourth. So this is 5/4 is the same as 1 and a fourth. So you might see it like this on cons or like this. Now here's where this is important for you to understand. If you're multiplying a number with a fraction that is greater than 1, well, you know for sure that your product is going to be equal to a number greater than 315. Why? How do I know that? Well, because think about it. 1 times 315 is going to give me 315 plus the 1/4 times 315. You're going to add it to that. So your answer, your product will be bigger than 315. So cons asks you, it has some problems where, and we did this in class as well, in chapter 7. So in this example, 315 times 5/4 is greater than 315. They don't really ask you for an answer, but just that you know that it'll be greater. And then in another problem, they'll want you to put it in order from least to greatest. So in this case, this will be the greatest number, because if you multiply it by a fraction that is less than 1, then you know that your answer will be less than 315. Why? Because you're multiplying by less than 1. So your number is going to go down. And so if you were to put them in order, you know that this would be least, then this will be greater than the largest one, and then this will be the same as 315. So just remember, if you're multiplying by 1, a fraction that is equal to 1, you'll get the same factor. If you multiply by a fraction that is greater than 1, your response or your product will be greater than the number you're multiplying. And if you're multiplying by a fraction that is less than 1, your product will be less than your factor. Okay, that's the main thing that you need to understand. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next example. They will give you problems where they say, what is 3/4 of 9/10, for example? Well, remember, when we say of, we are multiplying. So this is the same thing as 3/4 times 9/10. Now, remember, when we are multiplying fractions, we have to have our numbers as a fraction greater than 1. You cannot have mixed numbers. Remember that mixed numbers are numbers that are mixed, like whole numbers with fractions. Fractions greater than 1 are written like I wrote it here, 5/4. So in this example, we already have fractions, so we don't have to worry about it. But if you're multiplying fractions and it has a mixed number, you need to convert it to a fraction greater than 1. So now, 3/4 of 9/10. Okay, when we multiply the numerator with the numerator, and we multiply the denominator with the denominator. Last week we were adding and subtracting fractions. You had to find common denominator. When you're multiplying fractions, you do not find common denominators because you do not need to have the same denominator. So in this case, we just multiply across. 3 times 9 equals 27. 4 times 10 equals 40. Now, don't forget that you always need to check that it's in its simplest form. If you're not sure, well, just to make sure, write your factors. How do you get 27? 1 and 27, 3 and 9. I know those are my factors for 27. And for 40, 1 and 40. It's an even number, so I know I can divide by 2. 2 times 20. 3, I don't think it goes evenly. 4, yes, 4 and 10. 5, 5 and 8. And then 6, no. You need to know your multiplication factor, right, to do this. So I don't see no common factors. So that means that it's already in my simplest form. And my numerator is smaller than my denominator, so that means that it's not a fraction greater than 1, so I don't need to rewrite it as a mixed number. So in this case, the answer is 27 over 40. And then we have another type of problem where you will be given a model, a visual, and you're multiplying. I do encourage you that, you look at the visual and then you can check your work by multiplying across numerator with the numerator, denominator times the denominator. But in this example, I'm going to explain how the visual works. So we have 1/2 of 6/7. So I'm going to take half of the 6/7. So I'm going to model 6/7 first. What is 6/7? It means that my model is going to be broken into 7 pieces. And here's I already started it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my bar is broken into 7 parts. And I shaded 6 because it's 6 out of 7. Now I want half of this. Half of 6/7. So that means that I need to break this in half. So we're splitting this in half, the 6 in half. So if I split the 6 in half, I'm going to go ahead and only do, so half of 6 is 3, right? So I'm going to go ahead and shade 3. So, okay, so I shaded 3 out of 6 because I only wanted to shade a half. So I have 1, 2, 3. Now here's the tricky part. It will be 3, not 3 of 6. You will do out of all the squares that you have in your model. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So it's 3, 1, 2, 3 out of 7. So my answer is 3/7. Now, if we're not sure, we can double check by multiplying across. So we have 1/2 times 6, 7. We multiply the numerator with the numerator. So 1 times 6 equals 6. And then 2 times 7 equals 14. You might say, Ms. Maldonado, wait, that's not right. Well, is this in its simplest form? No, we need to simplify. So I know that I can write out the factors if I don't know if what number can I divide both the numerator and denominator to simplify. So the factors of 6 is 1 and 6, 2 and 3. What are the factors of 14? 1, 14, 2, and 7. Well, I already see a common factor, right? The 2. So 6 divided by 2 equals 3, and 14 divided by 2 equals 7. Bingo, it's the same thing. So my answer is 3/7. Okay, I hope this helps. If you are still having problems with something specific, let me know what specifically are you having trouble with on the titles of Khan's Academy, and I can always do another video to explain this further or with more detail. All right.